Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Horizen and LTO Network AMA. My name is Angie Villarreal. I'm one of the project managers at Horizen, and I'm going to be the moderator of today's AMA here with you all. Recently, Horizen and LTO Network joined a partnership to build a dedicated private sidechain that's going to provide enhanced privacy and additional anchorage for more of their 75,000 client transactions. So with us today, I have Viglione. He's team lead and co-founder of Horizen, and also I have Rick Schmitz, the CEO of LTO Network. So thank you all for being here, and I'll pass the word to Rick for him to talk a little bit about him.
Hi, Angie. Thank you for introducing us. I'm Rick Schmitz, CEO of LTO Network. Super great to be here. Thank you very much for the introduction. We started our blockchain project back in 2017. Our mainnet went live in Jan 2019, 2 years later. We've been processing transactions for multinationals, big governments, and even now for the United Nations. We've been growing about 30% month on month, and we're on 120K transactions on the daily right now. And Robert and I were basically looking into to join forces in some kind of the projects we're doing together, and we said, okay, there's a great overlap and complementary use of both technologies. So that's why we joined forces, and that's why you're here today to learn more about our partnership. I give the word to Robert.
Well, thank you, Rick. It's a pleasure. And Angie, thank you for coming out of the normal routine of just deep diving on the tech with our engineering team to do this. This is very nice to have this type of community conversation. Now, Horizen, for really the LTO network community that's joining this call, and to tell you a little bit about what we do at Horizen and why I think it's such a nice opportunity for us to collaborate with each other is Horizen has been around since 2017. We basically, roughly the same time where we kicked off the projects with LTO, but we took a bit of a different tack. So for us, we were very much specialists on the privacy technology side. And we've been working with ZK snarks, a class of cryptography called zero knowledge. And it has some wonderful properties that I think are absolutely critical to getting blockchain out there into the mainstream for real world uses. What we were doing with this type of cryptography was initially working on things like coin transfer from like the Zcash tech stack. And then over the last couple of years, extending the class of things that we can do into data privacy. So for us, we're big proponents of data privacy, and in particular, using these tools of data privacy in a massively scalable blockchain context, where for the blockchain geeks out there, we are in the blockchain of blockchain sidechain world. That's our niche that we build in. And one thing that we were talking to LTO about was extending the LTO network to have kind of shared infrastructure where we can work on what is called technically a sidechain, but it's really a blockchain that we would operate together really for the LTO network for particular uses, where we can leverage our privacy technology for a whole range of business cases. And we can go into these really fun niche areas that we can collaborate on together.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick, for your introduction, as well as you, Rob. I would like to kind of like deep dive a little bit about this partnership. One of the questions we've seen, and thank you everyone for contributing, is the nature of this partnership. So Rick, if you would like to maybe provide some more details or insights about this.
Yeah, definitely. So LTO network is pretty good in his in the anchoring on this public chain. So we have a lot of anchors there, but more anchors can come from private side chains. And if you're looking for technology where you can have these infinite scalable private chains where you want to have the security of multiple nodes being together to provide that security, I think that Horizen is there as a super nice alternative that could be integrated with LTO network. besides that, we have a new solution for KYC, for Know Your Customer solutions, so that you're able to have a digital identifier to basically identify a company or a person based on the credentials they have. And we've seen that as a great new use case that could be rolled out to the projects that are integrated with Horizen, which already are running on Horizen. So that's why we've seen great value in this partnership.
So one thing that I'll add here for the Horizen community that's coming out of the privacy world and this public blockchain privacy world, talking about things like KYC and government contracts, we probably have some of our community rolling their eyes. What I will say is that what I love about the LTO partnership is we're building a protocol, and we're building a suite of tools to make the protocol useful. And LTO has been getting out there over the last several years in cultivating real world use cases for blockchain tech. So that's what I like about this is we haven't really been out there, cultivating these use cases because we've just been focusing on our back-end tech stuff. Now we're looking at partners that have experience in getting out there on real use cases. And I think LTO and Rick and his team have been doing a really good job there.
Yeah, I think that's nice of you to say that, because yesterday I gave a same kind of AMA together with the United Nations. We've rolled out the Afghanistan Project. It's finally live. We are basically issuing every piece of land in Afghanistan through LTO Network. And this is a great start for anchoring all the deeds and the certificates of ownership. But the second phase will be all these private sidechains where private data will be shared with multiple stakeholders so that we can move it even further than we already have. And this is the boilerplate, like the Afghanistan case we built with the United Nations will be the boilerplate for every country in need of a solid land registration system. So we have half of Africa in our mailboxes, and of the UN, to start using this boilerplate. So this is a great way of adding value with technology like Horizen that understand that we can bring value together in this new matter.
Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. So I would like to take this question to Rob. It's regarding to why you chose each other. So kind of like a strategic side, or could you elaborate on this, Rob?
Yeah, I'd say business expertise, and Rick's a cool guy. So I mean, I say that sort of as a joke. I mean, Rick, you're kind of cool, but I mean, the reality is our teams just really get along. So our BD team has been working with the business team that Rick runs, and what we're looking for is just expertise in getting tech out to the market and drumming up real business cases. Because fundamentally, at the end of the day, in the crypto world, like the public blockchain world of the Bitcoins and the Ethereums and Zen prior to our sidechain technology, it's really just getting coins out there, tokens out there, and hoping that they go up in value one day. Well, that's not a very satisfying business case, because at the end of the day, if these systems are going to have real value, we need to make sure that there's real revenues coming in from solving real problems in the world. Rick and his team have been solving real problems in the world. And I love the Afghan land registry case, because I spent a couple of years in Afghanistan, and we kind of resonated over that right away. I think it's absolutely critical. Like there are so many parts of the world that really need this technology, from just normal land registry, digitize your land, your title, get it onto a public ledger so that, number one, it's just a lot more efficient than going to like a bureaucratic office and wasting days of your life. But then also we can layer in privacy technology here so that people can actually, have this concept that I consider like privacy is a fundamental human right. And until we get these, business cases out there and real problems being solved in the world, it doesn't matter what kind of cool privacy tech we're building. It's not going to go anywhere. So having a partner like LTO is just so important for us as an ecosystem, because they're already out there. They're in the trenches building these business cases, and they're going out and working on contracts, submitting bids for proposals to do work. And for us, we're partnering with them to leverage that expertise.
Of course. So I'm taking here one question. It says, the website says DeFi. Is it a DeFi partnership? I'll give this one to Rick.
No, it's not. No, it's definitely not a DeFi partnership.
Too bad. Oh man.
Yeah, I know that everybody in the community would love to hear it. Yes. No, this is actually what Rob said. It's an actual business case. What I really love about our collaboration is that we bring value. Like, if you want to have a sustainable product in this market and be there in the next 10 years, you need to have a solution which actually brings value to the people using it. And what you just mentioned really well is, okay, there are a lot of coins out there which are pure there for speculation, and that's it. That's their business case, and we see it really differently. We have a token which is used, and with that you can do certain things like registering a deed of title to have a piece of land in Afghanistan, for instance. And by bringing value to the solution, the buying pressure doesn't come from speculation. The buying pressure comes from people using it. And that's what you want to accomplish, to be there in the next 10 years so that we can survive the next bear cycle and survive the dot-com crisis like the Amazons out there.
Sure. And talking about all of these context in partners in real use cases, one question that I see here is, for example, what would be interesting for LTO's clients to use Horizen for? This question is for you, Rick, and then we can go and ask the same for Rob.
So for us, it's great to have a additional technology which basically is lacking our technology, so we're not able to issue coins or basically issuing tokens on a side chain is not something that we have on our chain. And bringing in the technology by a simple integration basically adds value to our core. So if we have a platform that is used by parties and we can add by simple integration issuing tokens through side chains, and adding zero knowledge proof to our private side chains, then there's a win-win for everybody. So there is a extra technology component so that the technology brings more value to the client, and there's a win for Rob and his team with Horizen to have his technology more used. So that's basically how that goes.
Sure. Rob, would you like to just kind of like comment on that? Like how would this benefit or be kind of like a strategic for Horizen's partners?
Yeah, so I mean, Rick, I think did a great job of putting together the big picture of what's going on with the LTO and then the value prop on the Horizen side. What it will add is our technology is still in early days in terms of getting our sidechain, to mainnet and then building these kind of zero knowledge proof systems to do specific things. But I think the core value prop for blockchain is to be able to provide integrity for data. That's when you ask me, the academic answer for why do we even use blockchain is to provide integrity for data. And there's a whole bunch of different types of data we can do that for, like value transfer on Bitcoin, like smart contract state changes on Ethereum, or you actually registering and providing integrity for land titles, right? Or a variety of other things. We could do digital invoicing. We could do, you name it, supply chain use cases. There's so much out there. But at where I see us adding the big value is there's so much information that people are not willing to put in a public ledger because they don't want the world to see exactly, information flows. If you can layer in strong cryptography, like these zero knowledge proofs, ZKPs, then you can induce a whole new wave of things that people are willing to put on a public ledger. And just given the cryptographic properties of ZKPs, you can still perform operations on this encrypted data without revealing the data itself. So it really blows open the door for so many more types of use cases. What we're doing now with the LTO is so important in laying the groundwork for getting our infrastructures in sync and then getting joint products to market so we can start aggressively tackling use cases together.
For sure. Okay, another question here is, for example, how many transactions is expected on this sidechain made for LTO, and does Horizen have any issues scaling up unlike Ethereum?
So the business case, I'll leave to you, Rick. Yeah, I could talk about sidechain throughput next, but
yeah. Well, that all depends on the clients. So our total number of transactions on a day is 120,000. Not all of them are using sidechains or private chains. Some of them just use the public chain. So out of these clients using the private chain layer, they would have basically they would need the transactions on Horizen, and yeah, it will all show by the usage. For instance, on the Afghanistan case, how much that will be in the real world, and if it rolls out fast, the usage will go up really fast. But I think this is something to determine in the next few months and see how the traction goes. But we have really good outlook for the usage of transactions on the Horizen blockchain.
And I'll add, so from the transaction throughput perspective, right now we have no foreseeable binding constraints on the transactions that are kind of within that realm of where the business reality is today. Now, we are building this for the future, and even our V1 tech right now, I just got off of a call with our CTO a couple of hours ago going over these numbers, and probably wouldn't be happy with me releasing anything publicly, but what I would say is we are looking at capacity to do something like, say V1, like 1,000 sidechains running concurrently, all pegged to the main Horizen blockchain. Each of these sidechains could have something like 100,000 transactions per, say, block cycle that comes out, or epoch. And I'm just talking like orders of magnitude here. Don't quote me on the exact numbers, but what we're really talking from like a main chain block perspective, we're able to process so much more of a transaction throughput than exists right now, like in real world applications with blockchain. It's not a problem. And we don't see any issues in the near term. That said, when V2 comes out, we're going to be constantly expanding the capacity to do things with it. Now, the last thing I'll say is these blockchains run in parallel with each other. So if we have a single blockchain for LTO to start, as a blockchain or a particular use case, like we can have a sidechain per LTO use case, per LTO client, right? So we could keep stacking these sidechains. So we have a network of parallel operating blockchains so that we really just wouldn't have this kind of capacity constraint.
For sure. Going a little bit deeper, for example, I think it would be a good idea to mention, for example, one of the main use cases of these partnerships, and what would the clients get that they were not getting before. Rick, if you could answer this one.
Yeah, definitely. So for us, it's great that clients are able to have a token running on top of LTO. That's not possible with our chain. So that's cool. Besides that, I think the zero knowledge proof part of Horizen is definitely adding value for our clients. So that are the main 2 points. From LTO perspective, it's great to have our digital identity solution that could be rolled out to all the projects that are running on Horizen. So that's where the vice versa part is.
Sure. I see another good question here. It's both a comment and a question. It says, zero knowledge proof can potentially give people back control over their online data. Are there any companies ready yet to bring such consumer solutions to both LTO and Horizen? Maybe Rob, you can help us with this one.
So first of all, I fundamentally agree with the statement that preceded the question that ZKPs could have the potential to just give individuals control of their digital footprint. Putting information in the public sphere, but still retaining control of it through access because it's encrypted, and you kind of doing this at like the size, like packet size of like information that you're broadcasting, individual information. It's not being aggregated by a platform that you don't control, and it's not being exploited without you realizing it through like crazy terms and conditions on a contract. right? So fundamentally, that's all there. Now, we're still a long way from making that a reality. The reality that we live in today is one of big platforms offering pretty good services, and I say pretty good services by just measuring usage of them, like how many people use Facebook, how many people use Twitter, and these other platforms, WhatsApp. We may not use all of them, but many people do, billions of people do, and they're just giving away their data, right? They're giving away their data in exchange for access to the platforms. We offer the possibility with this type of cryptography to flip that business model upside down and see where it goes. And I think that there's so much more of an interesting opportunity here ever since really the commercialization of, even say like machine learning training algorithms. This really is a big behind the scenes data marketplace for all of the information that you're voluntarily giving these platforms. They're selling it to people that are, and even themselves, training their machine learning algorithms to then better sell or better do things with the information. Well, if you could control the data yourself, then you could potentially capture or partly monetize this enormous cash flow going around the world, or choose not to participate. And I think this is a really important thing. Now, the real question was, do we have a use case that has this in mind and we're ready to go to market? Not at all. And this is something where we're working on that backend tech to make it possible, and that's really important right now. We're kind of dabbling or dipping our toes in the use case ocean with Rick and his team, but we're just getting started.
For sure. So another question, very interesting question that I see here. This one is for Rick. It says, how do the token economics work for LTO on a Horizen built sidechain? Would LTO have another coin?
Well, the client would have another coin. So basically the client would have the ability to issue another token on the sidechains running on Horizen. They would have also the token that already is running throughout our system. So if there is a private sidechain on Horizen, that would anchor through also on LTO. So basically there's a win-win because there's additional usage on Horizen, and there's also usage on LTO, so it's basically fully complementary here.
Sure, kind of like in both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so another question is, would all these super nodes be involved in validating sidechains like the one made for LTO? It's two questions actually. Is Zen the gas just like how Ether works?
Yeah, so first question, we do have 45,000 nodes on the network, something like 3,000 super nodes, don't quote me on the numbers. And all of these nodes are going to have the ability to participate in LTO sidechains. So sidechains that LTO goes out and gets client, and they run a blockchain for their client. We're opening all of them up to our network, and they will be able to participate in securing these different blockchains with LTO. So that's a very interesting opportunity for additional revenue for people that operate the infrastructure. And it's also great for LTO and their clients because you have a subset of 45,000 nodes that might want to run some of these client chains. So that's a nice story right off the bat. Now, from the Horizen perspective, the token economics for us, it is, so everything Rick said was exactly right. We're offering tokens on, and these sidechains will be able to issue their own tokens, which is great for clients to have more optionality. Now, Zen is a transaction gas to be able to operate these sidechains. The way that the sidechains work is we have a two-way peg with the main chain, the main Horizen blockchain. Zen gets committed into the sidechains, and Zen is used to, in an automated way, send micropayments that are attached to transactions that provide incentives for this decentralized network of workers to participate. And just as an example, we have people, just like in the proof of work mining world, we have proof of stake sidechains. So people that choose to be block forgers in this proof of stake world, like if they're on a sidechain, they're bundling transactions together into a block, and they're adding that block to the sidechain. Now they get paid to do that. So that's one type of worker that gets paid. We also have this, zero knowledge proofs are generated per transaction. Right? So this is a different class of worker that does nothing but process these ZKPs, and they do this for a fee, right? So there's another type of decentralized worker. And when I say decentralized, that's important for us. So Rick and his team do a bunch of work from the private blockchain world to, they also have the public token. But like for us, we specialize in public blockchain because data integrity for us is we want the world to be able to verify all transactions. So we want a decentralized network where we don't want to know everyone that's participating. We want to just throw the software there into the wild, define the rules of the game, initialize the system, and then people can come in and join. Like miners come into proof of work chains. We can have people come in as block forgers. We can have people, running nodes. We can have people processing snarks, right? So this is the way that the network works for us, and Zen is the gas, kind of like ETH is on the Ethereum network.
Okay, sure. So now from the live audience, because we were just getting started with the previous ones. These were the ones that we had already, people had already contributed to them. So from the live audience, let's see what we have here. It says vast majority of crypto projects are built just for the sole purpose of amassing wealth for themselves. So I want to know the value you aim to add to crypto industry that will bring greater abundance. And this one is for Rick.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite question, actually. We started with blockchain not because of, hey, let's do a blockchain project. We started blockchain because there was a client demand. We actually started as a centralized solution. Our centralized solution was built on workflow technology, enabled to distribute data amongst multiple stakeholders. And the government of the Netherlands came to us and said, hey guys, can you make this distributed amongst also other jurisdictions, so other countries in Europe, so that we can share the data more efficiently and more secure? I said, yeah, sure, let's try and do that. So we said, okay, let's use blockchain technology for this. So this was 2014. We set up an Ethereum node and thought, okay, let's try and do this through Ethereum. And we came to the conclusion that it wasn't a suitable product for doing this because there was so much data that needs to be, well, basically non-public information. So start slow and small. Let's connect the systems that you guys have and connect them through private chain pipelines, and where we anchor the blocks with data so that we have a immutable data share between the stakeholders involved. And that's basically what made LTO Network today, from client demand, a suitable product. And every time we talk to our clients, we make our product a little bit better. So we develop based on demand and not per se of what the next hype is going to be. And I think that will last way more and longer than going with the next hype.
For sure, totally agree. So one question from Rob, for Rob from the audience. It says, how are you thinking about privacy adoption on securities, trading transaction, and other similar financial transactions? What is the main blocker for larger institutions on blockchain adoption?
I think the reality is that one of the biggest blockers for large financial institutions is on the regulatory side. And I'm speaking a little out of turn. I'm not a regulation expert, and I know regulation differs across jurisdiction. But I would say that a lot of the trepidation for financial institutions has been this is unclear regulatory territory. This is brand new technology. We're applying it in a whole bunch of different ways that probably make regulators uncomfortable. And I think, like for instance, if I were the CEO of a large bank or financial institution, I would probably take a largely wait and see perspective while also having an R&D team or two actually experimenting with the tech in different ways, maybe experimenting with custody and some of the safer stuff. Maybe look at some of the safer, more mainstream applications of the marketplace. But I wouldn't be too aggressive if I were a large financial institution, because you have a lot riding on this, and it's still a bit of a gray zone.
Okay, next question is, would LTO still get burned if a sidechain uses their own token, or if Zen nodes are used? Does that not threaten the deflation aspect of LTO?
No, definitely not. So we always anchor also through LTO Network. So the data that is being sent through Horizen would also be sent on LTO Network. So basically you got a double anchor, and yeah, you're able to have that in both chains instead of just one. So it doesn't interfere here.
Yeah, and I'll just add, if, depending on how our products mature together, we could always do things where, clients could have a portal where they pay in LTO, and then that on the back end just gets converted to pay for this, this gas on, the back end of like a sidechain network, right? So there are ways to make the economics very complementary, where we're just adding value. This is not a zero-sum game at all. We're actually growing the pie quite significantly by working together.
Sure. Now, going back to kind of like the use case and the features, one question that we have here also from the live audience, thank you so much for contributing. It says, would something like LTO be able to leverage their technology to add more transparency to voting systems? Seems like there might be a use case to increase transparency, but also protect privacy.
For who is this question?
Well, if you like to take it, Rick.
To be quite honest, I don't think we are the best product for voting systems. The reason because of this is that I think there are just better platforms capable of doing that. For instance, Waves, or maybe even Ethereum is great of doing the voting. Maybe Horizen, I don't know, but I don't think that LTO is a great one. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I don't think we can add great value there. What we can add value is of the identity part of voting. So there are two components here. So there's the voting part itself, and then the identity of the person behind the voting. I think if you combine them, then you have a good system. We can add a part to that system. So if Horizen is able to do with their token, then in the private chain part, then we could add the identity part. So yeah, we might have a great solution here. It is maybe even from the guy from or girl from the audience that came up with this solution.
Sure. I'm sure that Rob would like to add some comments about these voting systems. Please, Rob.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, from a tech perspective, it's something we've been looking at for a while. In fact, we prototyped a voting system that uses zero knowledge for secret balloting, and it has delegation. So you can have like you could do things like one person, one vote if you had a good identity solution, which we don't, by the way, at Horizen. So another positive of this partnership to leverage together. But I mean, when I think about developing products here, we're nowhere close to ready to pitching governments on using our voting system. So I think Rick had the right reaction to say, hey, we're probably not the best tech right now. Where I'm looking is things like homeowners associations. In my neighborhood, I would love to have the 200 homes, in this neighborhood to be able to have combine an identity management system like LTO has with a voting platform like Horizen can do on a sidechain. And there you go. You have a product that is relatively low risk. We can tie flow budget through this blockchain application, and you can have direct democracy for how proceeds are used and transparency of how the proceeds are used, which is something quite lacking in many parts of the world.
Great. Okay, so I see one question for Rick. It says, now that Afghanistan is ready to start, how long would it take for other countries that are interested to start as well? Are you developing projects in countries other than Afghanistan?
Yeah, that's $1 million question, right? I cannot say anything about that. I just can say yeah, there are more countries looking into the solution. And from different perspectives. So what we'll be doing is open sourcing the solution very soon. We'll be open sourcing it all. So all the modules we have developed will be open sourcely available for every other country that wants to use it. And our teams and our project integrators are happy to help out on other countries implementing this in their system. So it doesn't really matter what they already have in place. we probably have a module that would basically add up to their system. And yeah, I think there can also be a great collaboration here with Horizen as well, because some countries already have something in place. Some parties already want to have something like zero knowledge proof implemented, or have a token running. And I think that's a great solution to basically have in a plug in a box integration with Horizen. So I think that's a great solution here.
For sure. I'll just kind of like direct the same question to Rob. Like, what do you think about this adoption, kind of like from the country, or kind of like in a worldwide perspective, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we've been global from the start in the way we think of things. So we're not really regional focused, although we do at times take regional focus on thinking about solving problems. But our tech is really generalizable. Like for us, it's more about that tech backbone that provides a network and tools for developers and companies to take those tools and deploy a solution that they're experts on. So again, like why do we do things like partner with LTO? And it's because they are experts on particular problems for marketplace. We're not, and we don't want to be. We just don't have that expertise in-house. We don't want to go down that route. We want to be on the back end always and just providing like that base technology and enabling and empowering people to take it and solve interesting problems. There's definitely holes across markets. I mean, we do have a variety of interesting design partners now around the world to do different things, ranging from Latin America to US to Europe. Nothing going in Asia right now yet. I mean, unless we, LTO and us can get something going together. But I mean, we're very much open to a global landscape where we want to see our technology applied.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's different cases or cases where this can be applied to like a kind of like in a local, regional, or even like a continental question, depending on the case. Okay, so next question that we have is when will this product of the partnership take place? I guess it's for both. I'll start maybe with Rob.
Yeah, so I mean, Rick, maybe you want to talk through some of the details of when we kicked this off. We jointly bid on a particular project together. So right now we're in the phase where we're jointly bidding on work to actually have a particular use case, right, and have a contract that we can do together. But Rick, is there anything, I don't want to spill the beans prematurely on anything that's ongoing right now. I don't know if there's anything you want to add here.
Yeah, definitely. So we're looking into the technology from the UN perspective, where we can roll this out to other jurisdictions as well. There are some parties that have some wishes and demands that could fit into the Horizen blockchain perfectly. So without basically spilling too much information here in this AMA, there might be some additional cases here which we can collaborate on together. Beside that, I think adding digital identity to Horizen is a great way for us to be upping your chain. So that's being under development as well, and will be rolled out somewhere in Q2, Q3. So it's work in progress, but it will come.
For sure. I'm sure there will be very interesting updates about how all of this is progressing. Okay, so another question that we have here is community support is one of the biggest aspects of a project's success. Most projects have programs that interact with their users. Do you have any special plans to attract and expand the community? I'll also give this one to you, Rick.
Yeah, so basically the question is, can we bridge some of our community to Horizen and vice versa? I think so. I think this is a first step of having our communities joining and having the knowledge about the projects. And I think this can run further in marketing and basically doing AMAs together and well, eventually having a super cool joint project together where we can both leverage on marketing and more people and more eyeballs, not only in our own communities, but also from outside. So really looking forward to that. And I think that will add great value to both of us.
For sure. And I think this also would be ideal for Rob to tell us a little bit about how a community contributes to Horizen and the different things that we do.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're a community-driven project, right? So we're a decentralized blockchain ecosystem, and just very actively engage with our community and very intentional about empowering them and kind of growing this more decentralization in the way we do business. Now, this particular or partnership with LTO, what Rick said was perfect. This is the kickoff, right? This AMA is really, yeah, we had a joint press release, but this is really our opportunity to introduce each other's projects to our respective ecosystems. Now, the goal here is to expand this and over time continue to integrate. And I think the way that happens is once we have the specific projects that we're working on together, and we're doing joint development and actually joint go-to-market together, it just becomes very natural for our communities to get excited and kind of piggybacking and working together.
For sure. So we have a couple of more questions. So one of them is, it says, would LTO nodes then get paid the normal rate for the use of the LTO sidechain on Horizen nodes?
Well, that's a complicated question. So I'm not into the technical details, but what is 100% certain is that transactions that take place in any case would anchor on LTO as well, so on the public chain. So the people running a public node in LTO would receive their benefits as well from a project that we're running together.
What I would add, Rick, is LTO node operators are more than welcome to run the LTO sidechain, right? So that would be potentially an additional source of revenue on top of what they can already earn with LTO. So I think that's an exciting story for the node operators.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Amazing. Okay, so one of the following questions, I think this would be kind of like the last one, and I would like to address it to you both. We can start with Rob. It says, can you give us a 5-year vision plan for Horizen and LTO?
Sure, yeah, and that 5 years starts today with what we're doing here with this AMA. But the goal is to, like the way that we operate is let's take the first tangible step together, and that tangible step is doing this kind of joint bidding on projects to see where we land on the particular use case. Then we're going to build out something together. Now, fast forward, say a year or 2 years from now, the goal for us is always to consolidate use cases into products, and then think of products as something that's just more scalable than just kind of one-off. We're not consultants. We don't go to market. We're not looking to earn consulting revenue. We're looking to build products that can be reused for different use cases. So that's where we're going with this. We want to work with LTO to cultivate these joint use cases. We can cultivate products together that map from these use cases and then replicate them, across different markets together.
Sure. And Rick, would you like to also add to this question?
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree less with Rob. Yeah, so we're basically at the start of all things. We've been seeing super big growth in the last 2 years with LTO Network going live. We already had the luxury that we had a bunch of clients that were actively participating on our mainnet. And as we've been developing on client demand and on basically on what is the best viable and add value solution for them, I think hitting it with digital identities is going to be a game changer in the industry. With our land and expand strategy, where we already have all the nodes running in most of the jurisdictions in Europe, at big clients in Europe as well, I think we're perfectly positioned to roll out these digital identities as well, which is going to be needed in order to have a new internet. And the new internet in our perspective is that I know that I'm actually dealing with Angie Villarreal and Robert Viglione and everybody here on the line, so that everybody knows that we're interacting with the same persons, and not only on a Zoom call, but also when doing business together, so that we're able to verify each other without the need of doing a Chamber of Commerce check or going to a bank to do a verification of identification. So having this ecosystem in place and having already the adoption, which is like in the top 10 of most used chains, I think, yeah, we're going to make this big together. And adding the technology of Horizen is, yeah, just great for both ecosystems, right? So it doesn't really matter. We're not competitors in the blockchain space at all. I see it as more people joining, and the more people join, the more adoption we create together. So happy to join the trip with Robert.
For sure, this is just the start, as Rob and you were mentioning. And I see another question that just popped up from the community. It says, it's for Rob. It says, there are private chains being operated globally. How do you see them getting drawn out into public chains?
Yeah, and so the way that I see this evolving is a very heterogeneous marketplace in the future. And I think there is certainly a lot of room for use cases being built on private networks. And what we offer with our technology is the ability to actually validate what happens on a private network and have public network verify that what happened on a private network is actually valid without revealing exactly what happened on that private network. This is just one variant of product that we're building right now with our technology, and we're doing this with our use case with the Celsius network as an example. Not that Celsius is a private network, but what they do is like they have private reserves, like pools of money across different cryptocurrencies and different blockchains. We actually work with them to generate zero knowledge proofs. They can prove to the world that the reserves that they have, without actually revealing those reserves, they actually do have. And we can do this mathematically using ZKPs, and the public, the world, can verify it. So there's like a little jump on then extending the tech from verifying what's happening, like private reserves on public blockchains, to then private transactions on private chains, where you could do actually spit off proof certificates from a private chain to a public network, where all you see on the public network is the certificate, the proof, without actually knowing anything that went into it other than these are the rules of the game. So, you declare a public verifier in the public network, and it can just verify everything that happened on a private network. All that to say, a lot of words to say, I very much see a world where you can have a variety of use cases on public chains for, a variety of purposes. And I think the real value is when you can ultimately anchor or use public networks to verify what happened on these private networks is real, and that data has integrity.
For sure. So let's do a couple of more questions as they keep coming from the live audience. This one is from Rick. It says, how are clients looking at token pricing as part of their solution? Do they get it, or are they scared of price volatility?
Some are, some aren't. So clients that are starting with blockchain typically start small. They have a small solution that they want to test. They don't want the hustle of tokens to be purchased, put on their balance sheets and stuff like that. So they typically ask for a fiat solution where they say, okay, can we have a project of, let's say, $20,000 and have that being 1,000 certificates run on LTO or whatever on LTO? And we typically say, well, we said no in the beginning, but then we purchased another project which could help us with that part. So they could have the fiat part in order to have simple fiat gateway solution, so they didn't need to set up a node to start anchoring. This is typically your land and expand strategy, right? So we land our clients, the smaller ones, in another solution and then convert them into setting up a node and expand to more transactions. As soon as they're ready for big transactions, they go to LTO Network. And before that, they are on VIDT and they have their fiat solution. It anchors also on LTO Network now. So that's basically our strategy, and it has always been. As long as you're not able to set up a node and you want to start small, you're not the case for us. But as we purchased the VIDT project, we have now a solution where we can start really at the beginning so that we can convert the good ones into scalable projects. Otherwise, we could never yeah, get to the 120K transactions on a daily.
For sure. Okay, so yeah, I would like to remind the audience, you can still ask your questions even if we finish this AMA. You can leave their comments below and we can also answer them later. I would like to now pass the word to Rob to give us some final thoughts and comments, and then we can close with you, Rick.
Well, I mean, what I'll say in conclusion is we're really happy for this relationship, and I can't wait for going public with our first actual use case together. But I mean, this is laying the groundwork in the way that we always function. We're kind of in this for the long game. Our community knows that. Build technology, cultivate products, test product market fit out there. And LTO is a really big part for us to actually validate our technology out there in the wild, that we can actually add real value to real use cases. That's what this is all about. We're really pumped for it. Now, anyone that's interested in learning more about Horizen, we'll have a ton of links and everything on the bottom. Horizen.io is our big one-stop shop for everything.
For sure. Rick, would you like to close with some comments as well?
Yeah, I'm super grateful for the projects we've been tendering on so far. Hopefully one of them lands soon, to start really integrating the solutions together, getting these projects going, and basically making the ecosystem wider and bigger and get more adoption to the blockchain space. I think we're perfectly suitable as partners doing that. And I can't wait for the first integration going live. And I'm really thankful for the AMA. If everybody wants to, for the people who want to learn more about LTO Network, please check www.ltonetwork.com or follow us on Twitter, the LTO Network, or on Telegram at LTO Network. Thanks.
Sure, awesome. So yeah, I guess this is a wrap up. As they mentioned, follow us and check out our updates and latest news on at Horizen Global and at the LTO Network on Twitter. Check out the website, ask questions, get involved. Thank you everyone for attending this AMA and contributing with your questions. And we hope to see you all very, very soon.